Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true.
Update on house fire in Portmore. Father succumbs to injuries from Portmore house fire. 40-year-old Sherman Williams, the father of the 3-year-old boy who was killed in a fire in Portmore Gardens, St. Catherine, has also died. He succumbed to his injuries in hospital yesterday. It is reported that Williams and his son, Cleon, had gone to bed when neighbors saw a ball of fire coming from the back of the house they occupied about 11 p.m. The fire brigade was called, and the firemen then forced their way inside and saw the father lying by the door that was locked from the inside. He was clutching his son in his arms. A spokesman at the Waterford fire station said investigations will have to be conducted to determine the cause of the fire. Beaches South's suspected wife was having an affair with cop. The murder trial of Everton Beaches South McDonald and his co-accused resumed Wednesday morning, with a former employee testifying that McDonald suspected his wife was having a sexual relationship with a policeman. The witness said Beaches South vowed to kill the policeman for having an affair with his wife, Tonya Donaldson. According to the witness, South invited him and a senior security guard at a supermarket in Portland to come into his office. When they got into the office, the witness alleged that Beaches South showed them a computer screen with nude and other intimate photographs of his wife and the policeman. The witness claimed that Beaches said the policeman had threatened him, adding that the lawman had the audacity to take pictures inside the businessman's bedroom. The witness also claimed that Beaches said Tonya was disgracing the McDonald's name. On Tuesday, the first witness said that Madman was one of the nicknames given to his former boss, Beaches South. "I called him Mr. Mac, sometimes I call him Madman, other people call him Stout or Mr. Shine," he said. The witness, who had been an employee at Stout's supermarket in Portland, painted the picture of his former boss being a jealous man who sometimes spoke about wanting to murder people. He claimed that Mr. McDonald was overly controlling of Tonya. McDonald and his co-accused Oscar Barnes are charged with the July 2020 murder of Tonya McDonald, who was Beaches Stout's second wife. Tonya's partially burnt body was found slumped beside her race motor vehicle on the Sherwood Forest Main Road in Portland. Her throat was slashed. Beaches South is being represented by attorneys at law Earl Hamilton, Courtney Rowe, Christopher Towson, and John Jacobs, while his co-accused, Ernest Davis, is representing Barnes. Old Harbor person of interest killed in alleged confrontation with police. A man who was reportedly a person of interest in a case of murder was shot and killed after he allegedly challenged a police party in Old Harbor, St. Catherine on Wednesday morning. He has been identified as Daniel Farquharson, otherwise called Fry Eye, 26-year-old of Old Harbor. It is reported that about 6 a.m., a police team from St. Catherine South Division went to Old Harbor on a targeted raid. Farquharson allegedly fired on the police from a house. He was challenged by the police and was hit. The police said he was found clutching a Glock pistol, which was loaded with several rounds. A further search resulted in the alleged seizure of a .22 revolver and 22 rounds of ammunition. Farquharson and a woman who was also in the house and suffered a gunshot injury to the leg during the incident were taken to hospital, where Farquharson died and the woman was admitted. The Independent Commission of Investigations has launched a probe into the matter. St. Mary's pastor's missing gun found in Portland. 3 men are now in custody following the seizure of 2 Glock pistols and 22 rounds of ammunition in separate incidents in Portland. One of the weapons recovered reportedly belonged to a St. Mary pastor who had reported it missing. The Jamaica Constabulary Force said operations took place on Sunday and Tuesday. The pastor's stolen gun was reportedly recovered was in by a block in West Portland. Reports that a snap raid was carried out in the Shoebury, Portland about 10:45 a.m. on Sunday. A man from the community was taken into custody after a Glock 23 pistol with 1 magazine and 13 9mm cartridges were reportedly found in a black suitcase in a bedroom occupied by him. Superintendent of Police in charge of Portland, Lloyd Darby, told reporters that the division continues to make progress in getting weapons off the street. Of note, the second seizure is the recovery of the Glock pistol which was stolen in Boscobel, St. Mary from the pastor and Justice of the Peace. 2 men were taken into custody, including the suspect named. The division has seized 7 firearms compared to 4 last year. We continue to engage citizens of the parish to partner with the police in the crime fight, Darby stated. Superintendent Darby commended his team and reminded residents of Portland that they will continue their operations to rid the country of guns. Over $58 billion has been added to budget. Over $58 billion has been added to the budget. The third supplementary budget was approved by the lower house on September 26. Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark explained that the third estimates account for monies to be paid under the second year of the Public Sector Compensation Restructuring Program. He said over $700 billion will cover non-debt recurrent expenditure. The minister also indicated that $1.7 billion has been allocated for the upcoming local government election. The estimates will be before Parliament Public Administration and Appropriations Committee.
Alongside the tabling of the interim fiscal policy paper, I'm also tabling the third supplementary estimates for the financial year 2023-2024 to reflect, among other things, the allocation of amounts to facilitate implementation of the second year of the compensation restructure for those ministries, departments, and agencies not previously addressed in the second supplementary estimates. The public body's second supplementary estimates is also being tabled. The third supplementary estimates provide for total expenditure of $1,094,387 million, which is an increase of $58.2 billion over the second supplementary estimates. And this will be financed by tax revenues, non-tax revenues, a grant. The third supplementary estimates provide for non-debt recurrent expenditure of $719.4 billion, inclusive of below-the-line amounts, which represent an increase of $39.1 billion over the second supplementary estimates. Capital expenditure of $66.6 billion, which represents a reduction of $8.7 billion on the prior allocation for capital programs, and debt service of $308 billion, comprised of interest payments of $170 billion, which represents an increase of $14.9 billion, and amortization payments of $138 billion, representing an increase of $12.9 billion. The additional $39.1 billion in non-debt recurrent expenditure is allocated as follows: $1.4 billion to recurrent programs and $37.2 billion to compensation of employees and $0.6 billion to other outflows, which consists of loans to public bodies. These indicated increases represent the net changes to each of the categories, as the overall adjustments to the prior budgets involve reallocations, reductions, and additions to various activities. The net increase of $1.4 billion on recurrent programs is therefore the end result of adjustments that include $1.7 billion allocated for the holding of local government elections within the fiscal year.
Please remember to subscribe, like,